Hi, what's up? I'm gonna make a video reacting to my pre-transition self.
Hi. I've been coming across an issue that is very prevalent to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people. I've been meeting a lot of men and males in general who interpreted my friendship as more than friendship. And it's really bothered me, and I want to make a video about it.
And of course, no offense to like the men who like misinterpreted that and stuff. Like they didn't know, I didn't know. Like it's fine.
I think that it would be wise for me to explain where I'm coming from. I am.
Here we go. Did you see that look? It's me. It's me doing gender math in my head.
I'm non-binary. I'm a non-binary female, which means that I am more on the gender spectrum of leaning towards feminine, but I'm not insanely feminine to the point where I am like a 17 magazine kind of person.
I'm like kind of a woman, but like I'm not a woman, but like I'm a female, but like I'm kind of a woman, but like I'm not.
I prefer looking like I belong to either gender. I feel more comfortable that way.
I believe I just said that. I've been saying that for years. Like, I want to be able to look like a woman when I want, and then like a man when I want. It's so cool that my past self even knew that.
I do want to grow my hair super long and be like a goddess at some point, but I think after that I might shave my head.
Vibes.
I do not identify in the confines of being a binary female.
So this is when it gets confusing because it's like I'm out here and I'm like I don't identify with the confines of being a binary female, and it was just like so much like mentalizing and like so many mental gymnastics in my head to like rationalize to myself what my gender was. It was absolutely exhausting.
Um, I have a vagina. I wear it proud. Oh God, that's. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. I just wanted to say that.
Ah! I think that's what it was. I think it was actually just me being like, okay, well, my genitals are this, so like, therefore I'm a female. Point blank, period. But I'm actually like non binary, so I'm sort of like not a female, but I am because I have a vagina. Ugh. Which is actually really hypocritical because I literally just said before that I do not identify with the confines of gender, but then by identifying as a female only because of my genitals, I was literally confining myself to binary gender. Which is why I think in this video I've always thought that I sounded so confused.
So, yeah, um, I see people as people. I see I see binary gender too. I see that, but I come from a background where I have a very fluid view of gender and a very fluid view of sexuality. I don't see either things as black and white anymore. I'm a very fluid person. I operate in a thought form and a headspace, and my mind kind of works like this, when a lot of other people's minds work like this, you know? And I believe that romance is a spectrum. I believe that friendship is a spectrum. I kind of feel like everything is a spectrum.
The things I'm saying are very interesting. I also don't think there's anything wrong with thinking this way. It's just not personally my truth. Okay, so what I was doing with this one is I think that I was more connected to the spiritual than the physical. And so I was completely aware of the openness of everything and how how open and full of potential everything can be. that's fine and great, but I wasn't like thinking about where I wanted to exist on Earth while also integrating that potential. Because, sure, romance is a spectrum, of course, babe, but also there is a fundamental difference between your friends and the people who you make out with. And the people who you make out with can be your friends, but they aren't always. And you gotta figure out what the difference is. Yes, yes, friendship is a spectrum. Yes, romance is a spectrum, but for me, there is a fundamental difference between the two things. Okay, gender is a spectrum, sure, but like at the end of the day, like I'm definitely not a woman, and I'm never going to be. Okay, so I needed to figure those things out for myself, but I was sort of disengaging and disassociating from the discomfort of not understanding why my friendships were confusing and why my romantic relationships were unfulfilling. I was not ready. I didn't know how to understand or even ask those kinds of questions about my attraction and what it meant and why I was in love with people who were not attracted to my gender and why the people who were in love with me were unattractive. Like, so I was trying to like spiritualize something. I was trying to like get ahead of my pain by being like, oh, it doesn't matter that I feel bad and confused because everything's fluid. And it's like, sure, but also there's something going on here that you're not paying attention to.
Which means that it's not like this or this. It's just like, how far does it fall between this and this, you know? And I feel like sex is an expression of so many things. I feel like sex in general is an expression of creativity in the physical form with another person that everybody experiences. I feel like it's a way to bring life. I feel like it is meant to be a sacred act with somebody who you love. I feel that it can be misused. I feel that it can be used for power. I feel that anything that is not love being mistaken for power is dangerous. So I feel like when you mistake sex for power, it's dangerous. And I feel like that is definitely one of the fundamental concepts of oppression, is mistaking things that are not of the highest love for things that are.
I don't really know how any of what I'm talking about now relates to what I was talking about before. I just realized it. So, okay, the way that I'm talking right now is interesting because I was so confused in that moment that I was actually revealing things to myself when I was speaking that were so revealing that my psychology and my defense mechanisms kicked in and sort of tried to divert me from the original thing that I was trying to figure out but didn't want to figure out. So the moment I get close to it, I would divert. And one of the things that sort of started to reveal to me my true gender was men and my attraction to men, because I'm super into men, but not in a straight way, in a gay way. So I started this video expressing that I was uncomfortable that men perceived me as a woman, right? And now all of a sudden I'm starting to tie this in to sex and what sex is for me and how sex is supposed to be. And I'm just kind of like saying whatever I'm thinking right now. And of course, I don't know that because I'm so dissociated and so disconnected that I'm just like, no, I'm making a video with points. But the thing is that I was so like, my ungroundedness in my body was so extremely rationalized in my mind through spirituality that I kind of thought that like everything was this like out there, interesting, spiritual concept. And so I'm talking about my gender and I'm talking about my sexuality in this video as though I'm trying to teach somebody something about how fluid it can be. But what I was really doing is I was like, oh my God, why are men thinking I'm a woman? Sex. I'm not a woman gender. What? And I thought that I was like, no, it's okay. Everything's fluid. But I'm actually just like trying to like, not in this pain. I'm like, no, it's okay, everything's fluid. I'm gonna ignore this pain. So, I hope that makes sense.
So, yeah. And when I say that, I mean like when you mistake food for the best thing ever, and then you become obsessed with food, and that's not good for you. There's a book about that I will put in the description. It's called Sacred Union. It's a book that talks all about that. It's amazing. That's where I got my ideas.
I kept this because I just wanted to show you how funny I am. There's someone like knocking at the door, and I'm like, bye. Still trying to find the common thread here between that idea and the ones before, and I'm struggling to find it, but I'm sure that my past self had a thing to say. I think I'm going to put the book in the description below too. I don't think anyone's going to want it or read it because it's just this like really out there spiritual book about soul love, but I want to honor my past self, so I'll put it out there. I think that I was in that last little clip, I was trying to teach a concept of like not worshiping false gods, which is like one of the chapters in that book where they're talking about like don't think that sex is the end all be all of existence. Don't think food is either, you know? And that sounds kind of like low key, Christian. I feel like this was my way, my roundabout way of rationalizing even more my need to sort of see everything from a higher perspective. I don't mean higher, I mean like dissociated. Like I thought that like in engaging in sex and engaging with men and trying to get to the ground into my root chakra and really feel into what my feelings were telling me about what I needed to be on the earth, like in relationship, those kinds of questions that would have led me to realizing that I'm trans. I was trying to rationalize myself out of asking those questions by thinking that sex itself and changing my physical body itself was worshipping a false god, which is why I said that. And of course, like I said before, because this was a stream of consciousness video because I was so dissociated, I didn't know why I was saying that. I remember after making this video feeling even more confused and being like, but I was like trying to be like, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. This is the right way to have sex. This is the wrong way to have sex. This is the right way for me to see my gender. My gender is like this. I'm like a woman, but I'm not. And I'm like kind of on a spectrum, and it's all a spectrum, and I'm just like somewhere in the spectrum, and everything is a spectrum, and everything is fluid. And like, baby, for some people that's true. But for you and me, like it's actually not. Like, yes, we are fluid in some ways. I'm talking about past self here. Yes, we are like connected to multidimensionality in some ways, but at the end of the day, like you need to ground. And when I say that, I'm saying like you need to find at the base level what is true for you. What is sex for you at the base level? What is gender for you at the base level? Why do you not like it that men think of you as a woman? Why do you hate that? Why? How does it make you feel? You know? How do you want men to see you? These are the questions that I wish I would have asked myself during that time. Anyway, there you go. There you go. When you're confused, everything is confusing.